What's going on, guys? This is Empty Box, and this is Battlefield 3. And today I'm going to be talking about modding and mod tools and why it's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, hear me out on this before you go all crazy and fire your lasers at me in the comment section and go, "Oh my god, modding's always a good thing. It's always a good thing." Because I do agree that modding does have its place, and it's, one of the key features that allowed Battlefield, 1942, even Vietnam, Battlefield 2 to survive as long as they did, and one of the reasons that Battlefield 3 will not survive nearly as long. But hear me out on this, because I think this is kind of an interesting perspective. The reason for this commentary is, obviously we know we're probably not ever going to get mod tools for this game. Not likely. I think we've all come to grips with this, even though we don't necessarily like it. But the inspiration behind this video is a post I read on the CTDP mod team's blog, which is basically, for those of you guys who don't know, obviously I am a big racing sim fanatic. They're quite possibly the best mod team out there, bar none. These guys literally make every single car, from a season, including all the changes. They've done Formula 1 in the past, in which, if you know anything about Formula 1, they bring a new car to the track pretty much every week. These guys did every single version. It's amazing. They are better than most of the, commercial products you will see out there on the market. They have obscenely high standards, to be perfectly honest, and there's a reason why many of those guys are now working for many of those commercial products. But anyways, in this post, these guys have been around for a while, at least probably 7 years or so. I'd say, I've been around in the community over there for a very long while, and I recognize pretty much all of their names by now. But, basically they're saying that as the games have become much more complex, which they most certainly have, the games are much more realistic and everything. There's more, options. You can do more of everything. There's, the textures are higher resolution. There's more things to consider, such as how much light does this thing give off. How dark is this area? Your reflections and your physics and all that stuff. And there's a lot more stuff going on than there was in games, 5 years ago, than there was, 10 years ago. With the standards that these guys have, which, for those of you guys who don't have a clue what I'm talking about, think about like a Project Reality group, that group out there who is extremely dedicated to their one thing, and they want to make the best possible product they can. It took these guys, I think, 4 or 5 years of working on one mod to get it done. But rest assured, it was well worth the wait. Again, much like Project Reality, although Project Reality does do smaller build updates. But that's just their style. But they're still the same, type of standards. And, they have just basically, in this post, they go on to mention, we've lost members. We're down to basically 5 people. I know one thing's for sure: if I had the abilities and the talents and the time, I would gladly work for them. It would be a complete honor to work for a group who has that kind of standards. But sadly, as they mentioned, there's just so few people out there who can actually keep up with the modern games, because they have become so complicated that they take a lot more time to develop things for, which, modding is modding. No one is getting paid for modding outside of, Flight Simulator. It's pretty much that simple. While yes, some people will go on to, go ahead and, use that work as a, stepping stone into a commercial world and, end up becoming a game developer because of a mod. That's not really what people are doing it for. They're doing it for the fun and everything, but, people have lives too. It takes a lot of time, especially nowadays, They even mentioned that back in the day, it'd take a couple of weeks to do a mod, which it really would. I mean, I have done some modding myself in terms of texture work and some physics over there on that side of things. And, back then it was really simple. A couple of values in Notepad and everything for your physics, and it was all done. Boom. I remember Command & Conquer Red Alert back in the day. Yeah, $1 mammoth tanks. Yeah, I figured that out myself. Yeah! That was like my gaming achievement right there. That was totally awesome. totally cheap, but still. You know, it was that simple. You could just open up a file and edit it in a notepad and save it, close it, boom, you're done. Nowadays, not so much. Doesn't quite work that way, which really, I guess, is probably a good thing, but at the same time, you know, it does take much more time, which, how many people out there in the Battlefield community really can dedicate that much time to actually make it something worth playing? Now, while, of course, there is always, you know, if someone can, they will. You know, when there's a will, when there's a way, there's a will, or whether there's a will, there's a means. Something like that. You guys know what I'm saying, but and that's why I don't use the Rex ever. I hate that gun. But you know, there's not a lot of people out there who's going to create a quality product if there were mod tools, because it is going to take them some significant amount of time. First off, to learn the tools, and then second off, to actually use the tools, even if they are released. So really, we would probably, in all likelihood, end up with a bunch of absolutely garbage, half-baked mods that would just end up splintering the community into 50 different fragments. I mean, I think about my experience over there in the sim racing community with R Factor, which is built pretty much solely for modding. You know, it is all about the modding. Over there, you know, there's 15 different versions of a single track. You go into online gameplay, you know, you're in your server browser. Oh yeah, I think I have that track. You click on it, load up the game. Nope, mismatch. He's got a different version, or he changed one little file in his, you know, track file to make it have more garage spots so it could support more cars or whatever. And suddenly, you can't play there. You know, online is a key feature of, you know, R Factor over there. But because of the fact that it's based on modding, I have done maybe 5 races online. It's absolutely unplayable. It's a waste of time. It actually makes the game worse off in many regards because of that fact. Now, of course, I still play it because there's still AI and everything, and you know, that is what it is. But you know, because of the fact that it is moddable, it's become less of a product that it wants to be. It, you know, has transitioned itself, and it's actually hurt itself because of that. So modding's not always a good thing, especially when you consider the time involved and who's going to actually be able to make stuff that's worth playing. Or maybe you're just someone who doesn't have very high standards for mods, but I know myself, I am very particular about mods and everything. I really don't waste my time with absolute crap, because as you guys can probably tell, I have way too many different games to play, and I play a lot of different games, so I really don't have too terribly much time gaming to play little Timmy's half-baked mod with, you know, absolute garbage textures and models and no gameplay features and all that stuff. So what do you guys think? Hopefully I shed some light on this and maybe change you guys' thoughts on this to, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the bottom. Bye.